All right, we're live, Irie. Say hello.
Yo. What up, Alex? Welcome to Boogie Live here at the Irie Foundation. I was wondering when you were going to come through, man. Come on, man. We were waiting for you.
I know, man. I know. Hold on. Let me get mic'd up. I'm going to show you guys the studio afterwards.
Yeah.
We are shooting in Irie's podcast studio. You got to start a podcast, man.
I do. Listen, those things are blowing up, man.
They are.
I mean, blowing up. I mean, is there an audience left for your boy? Is there any left for me?
So this is what I learned, right? There's 7 billion people in this world, right? So
I can get 3 or 4 of them.
If you get 3 or 4 billion, you're like,
no, I mean like actually 3 or 4, but that's cool too.
Dude, Joe Rogan gets like 3, 4 million, 5 million. So
dude, that's awesome.
And that's he's the #1 podcast in the world. So there's a lot of
really?
Yeah, man.
That's wild, man.
It is.
Yeah, it's exploding.
A lot of money to be made
one day.
I haven't made it yet. Not on the podcast.
You get there.
We'll see. This is fun, man. This is episode number 82 for me. So 82 weeks in a row.
Getting it done, man.
We're trying, man.
Nice. Getting it done.
Well, I want to start off, and I want to thank Samantha Scalzo for setting this up.
What up? That's global.
Hey, man. We're going to talk about networking in a little bit. And I always tell people the 6 degrees of separation are gone.
Yeah.
It's now 1 degree of separation.
Yeah, very true. So, very true.
All right, well, let me do my intro. Good afternoon, or good morning. Yeah, it's good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alex Vidal. I am president of Related ISG International Realty and host of the show. You're watching episode number 82 of The Closer Club. And we are sitting with Irie, DJ Irie, as most of you know him. And I admitted to Irie afterwards, or before we started, that I looked at him as a performer. Little did I know how much he contributes to the community. Little did I know how much of an entrepreneur he is. And if you're a realtor, there are so many common denominators about what we're going to be discussing today. So give us 15, 20 minutes. And
let's rock.
Here we go. Irie, raised in Miami and Jamaica.
Yes.
Started at Hot Wheels, man.
Yeah. That was like one of my first DJ gigs, man.
I know. So we'll talk about that in a second. To one of the most sought after DJs internationally. You're the official DJ of the Miami Heat. You get that place pumped.
3-time world champion Miami Heat. But who's counting?
3-time world champion.
I mean, that's particulars, you know?
Serial entrepreneur with Irie Music Corp and Artist Related.
Yep.
To name
Irie
a few.
Weekend, yep.
Philanthropist with Irie Weekend, raising money for a music education program for inner city use. Tell us a little bit about your path to where you are today, and I need you to include how you got your name, because that's a very cool story.
Okay, we'll start there, actually. So first of all, sometimes you find your career, and other times your career finds you.
Yeah.
Well, this one, my career just kind of just hit me right over the head because I love the music. I never thought I could be a DJ, but I ended up collecting records, and one day I got the opportunity to DJ. Don't get me wrong, I was a fanatic.
Sure.
I never thought I could do it.
Yeah.
And so it worked out, right? And it was a private party, and then one thing led to another. The next thing you know, I'm at Hot Wheels, and I was a skate guard, right? And the owner found out that I was DJing some stuff on the side, and they approached me and said, "Hey, listen, we want you to DJ here," right? I was like, "All right, cool." So the very first day I show up to DJ, the guy that was the head DJ at the time, a guy named DJ Manny, I get on the mic, I'm getting ready to say, "DJ Ian," right? And he stops me. He goes, "Whoa, dude, what's your DJ name?" I was like, "DJ Ian." He's like, "That's a terrible DJ name." I was like, "I see your point." And right there on the spot, he's like, "You should be DJ Irie." I was like, "Okay." And that's really just how I got my name. And it just
And what does Irie stand for? So it has a pretty nice.
It does. Yeah, it has a connotation to it. So anyone's been in the Caribbean, you might get greeted with everything Irie. This means everything is copacetic, everything is cool, good vibes. Spread love, and I guess that is pretty synonymous with my personality. So I just took it and said, "All right, cool, we can do this." And here's another thing that was really important, in terms of my trajectory, and that was, even though I was collecting records, I was literally saving my lunch money, and buying records wherever I could. And I had one of those belt drive turntables. Anyone that's old school, records back in the day, you'd press that button and the arm would come up and go around and go down, right? That's not a professional turntable, okay? But, when I started getting these opportunities, I wanted to, really refine my skills and, learn how to mix and scratch and all the different attributes, of DJ artistry. And I couldn't afford turntables. I don't think people understand what a new Techniques turntable would go for, which is the professional turntable.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like $2,500,
Wow.
you know, for one, right? And then another $1,500 for a mixer, you know, and $500 for a needle. So it's really expensive gear, you know. And I got really lucky. You know, I met a guy who was also a DJ, but he also had another business where he would rent equipment, you know, to other DJs. And, you know, we became, you know, pretty good friends. And he got to understand how I really wanted to, like, you know, kind of hone my craft, and, you know, didn't have access to the equipment. And he lent me a whole set, right? I mean, the set he lent me is probably worth like $6,000-$7,000,
Wow.
right?
Back then.
What
year is this?
This is 95, 96,
okay.
Right? And, you know, I was going to use it for like, you know, a week or two. He said, you know what, I'll call you when I need it.
Okay.
Good friend. Yeah, good friend. So a week goes by and no call. 2 weeks go by. A month goes by. Going on 2 months, and I call him. I'm like, hey, man, you might have forgotten, but you know I still have your stuff. You know, let me know when you need to bring it. He goes, no, trust me, I haven't forgotten. I'll let you know. Matter of fact, don't call me. I'm going to call you when I need it. I promise you I'll call you.
Okay.
I said, all right, cool. Up to today, I still haven't gotten that call.
Really? You still talk to him?
Well, not only do I talk to him, years later, and I kind of figured out what he had done at the time, and it just, I mean, brought me to tears when I really get to think about it, you know, because he made a big sacrifice, right? And, you know, because he really saw something in me and believed in me. And, you know, what I did was just kind of out of the blue, I got his information and where I was leaving, and I won't say the number, but I put a check in the mail, right? That was considerably worth more than the equipment. And I sent it to him. I didn't hear from him for a long time. And something just told me to kind of just reconcile my accounts and just say, wow, this hasn't gotten cashed yet. What the hell's going on? This is probably like a month after.
Sure.
And then one day he finds me, and this is years ago, but, you know, after Facebook's around, he finds me on Facebook, and he sends me a picture of this framed item on his wall in the office, and it's the check that I sent him.
Really?
Dead serious. His name is Frank Rodriguez, goes by the name of DJ Lips.
Okay.
And single-handedly changed my life.
With sunglasses on, I can see through.
Yeah.
I can see the emotion in your eyes now.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. And that's why we're sitting where we're sitting today, right? And that's why, you know, my career took the trajectory that it did in terms of wanting to kind of level that playing field and create, you know, access and opportunity for others that were in my position, you know, where, you know, I had that burning fire, I had that interest, didn't have the access, right? Didn't have the opportunity, and you know, Frank Rodriguez came along and gave me that opportunity, you know. So I want to be the Frank Rodriguez to as many young individuals as possible.
I love it. And I'll share with you, my uncle's name is Frank Rodriguez. And
was it your uncle?
No, he's not a DJ. He's in real estate, and he taught me everything about real estate as well. And so it's interesting that we both had Frank Rodriguez in our lives who
Isn't that
believed
something?
in us, you know, because he believed in me when I needed it most.
The big lesson is,
give me a start.
If you ever come across a guy named Frank Rodriguez, hold him tight. He can be really good for your life, okay?
That's awesome. I'm going to see Frank. Actually, I have a meeting with him at 2 o'clock.
We all need a Frank sometimes, all right? Just to be frank with you, you know?
I love the emotion, and I want to piggyback on something. You know, you started with that recorder that went over.
Yeah.
And you know, the record player. Over.
The belt drive.
Started.
Yeah.
And so many people talk to me about, well, I want to get started. I want to do a podcast. I want to do a show, but I don't have the equipment. I'm like, I film with $49.
You got to start somewhere. Yeah.
My iPhone and a tripod.
That's it. You got to start somewhere. You know, you don't need the best, you know, and the brightest. You just got to get past go.
Just go. Just got to start. One thing.
That's it. That's it, man. Just start, you know.
Now, reaching the levels of success that you've reached really have come with perfecting and conquering two things. One is handling high pressure. And the other one is handling rejection.
Sure.
So talk to me about how you go about handling high pressure situations and then handling rejection. So
you're absolutely right. Talk about high pressure situations. Here's what I've learned when it comes to high pressure situations. Treating a high pressure situation like a high pressure situation is the very first mistake.
Interesting. Okay.
Because, you know, the house could be burning down around you.
Sure.
You know, losing your head and flipping out is not going to help anything at all, right? That's the time where you really need that level head. That's when you need the focus. That's when you need to clear your head, right? Because that's where the solutions will materialize.
Got it.
Right? And a lot of people don't really realize, in my profession, there's a whole lot that goes wrong, right?
Yeah, sure.
I can't tell you how many times, I've been on some of the biggest stages, right? And here's the thing about it. As the talent, all eyes are on you, right? The whole block can lose power. And everyone's like, what did DJ do? You know what I'm saying? It's so true. It's like almost anything that goes wrong when you're on it, it's the DJ's fault. You know what I'm saying? And it's fine. It's fine because, when you, at least for me, when I've taken that responsibility to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be in the limelight. It's showtime. It's going to be my name on the moniker. You take the good and the bad.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Because
that's a great way to look at it.
You don't get to pick and choose. You get the whole enchilada.
Got it. Sure.
And so if you keep a level head and you can approach whatever the situation is analytically, you're going to get through it.
Got it. And it sounds like there's a lot of gratitude in that too, that you're even being put in a position to be able to handle that high pressure. It sounds like.
Of course. But you have to go into it knowing that, hey, you know what? We're going to have the days that are going to be so rosy and so perfect and so awesome. And you're going to have the nightmares.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I am probably just as grateful for the nightmares as I am for those rosy, perfect days, because you know what? Without having those nightmares, I wouldn't realize how much to appreciate those perfect days.
Got it. That's a great way to
You know
look
what I
at
mean? That contrast is everything.
Sure. It keeps the perspective in check, right?
It keeps the perspective, and also keeps the blade sharp.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
So, out of curiosity, you've probably paid thousands of sets at this point, right?
Yeah.
You still get nervous before?
You know what? At times, yeah. So my thing is this, when it comes to this business, there are certain things where it's like, okay, you know what? You've done this, a gazillion times. You've taken that stage at the nightclub, whatever, or the Heat game, whatever. But every now and then, even though this is decades in the business and thousands of shows, every now and then a situation comes along that's unique, right? A situation comes along where you're back for the first time, right? And it's like, okay, this is different than anything else, but you can do it, right? Because you have confidence in yourself.
Got it.
And you got to say to yourself, you know what? Your path wouldn't lead you here unless you're prepared.
Got it.
Right?
I love it.
So you have to lean back on that, But do you get nervous? Absolutely, because you care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's this is episode number 82. I get nervous. Is the audio
know why?
gonna work?
You know what?
Lodge, you check the audio before we get started
Because you care.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
Absolutely.
And if you didn't care, you wouldn't get nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to do well, right? You want to come across as professional as possible. You want all these things, to execute as you're supposed to, and as you should, So of course, those nerves come into play, but they got to come into play, and you got to harness them. That it pushes you to be the best you can be,
Sure.
and doesn't hinder you.
Okay. So how did you handle the rejection? And you probably still deal with the rejection, right? So
Oh my gosh! Again, it comes back to knowing the business that you're in.
Okay.
And if you go into this thinking that you're going to win every single time, if you go into this thinking that you're going to get every single gig, that you want, and every single client is going to ask you back and all this, if you go into that, oh boy,
that's a good way to look at it.
You're going to suffer, some really bad times.
Got it.
But you have to be pragmatic. And just as those victories, those losses, with every victory, there's going to be a loss.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's going to be a loss. So, going to that knowing that, you are going to have some losses, right? You're not going to get everything you want, right? And you approach it pragmatic. Lows can be low, but they shouldn't be too low, because it's never the end of the world.
Got it.
Right?
Sure.
It's never the end of the world. Because a door closes does not mean another one's not going to open.
Yep.
Right? So if you go into that knowing and expecting that, right, you can keep it in perspective.
Got it.
You know, because you can, and that's the key. Lows can be low, but don't let them be too low.
Got it.
Don't let them be too low. Don't let them, crush you from starting the next chapter.
Sure.
Or from turning that page. Because it's not over unless you want to be over.
Well, it sounds like I think this is a great common denominator among the super successful. Is like they expect to win them all, but they're not heartbroken when they lose.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's okay to fall short and be damn, and be hard on yourself and push yourself, as long as it's a learning experience.
Got it.
Right? And not every one of those losses are going to be in your hands.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
So let's segue with the learning experiences, because you had some losses in business. Outside, forget DJing, but in business, but you've had successful endeavors with Irie Music Corp.
Sure.
And artist related.
Sure.
So what are some of the top 3 business lessons you've learned along the way?
Well, quite a few.
Give me your top
I'd say
3.
my top 3 is, well, number one is over deliver.
Okay.
Over deliver. If you're approaching an opportunity and you have the capability to complete it, that's cool. But go in there and approach it to just go over the moon.
Do you under-promise and over-deliver, or do you promise what you know you're going to deliver and even deliver more than that?
Well, you know what? There was a time where I probably under-promised and over.
Sure.
But now, you know what? I promise, okay, and I know what I'm going to deliver, and I know what my team's ready to deliver. And then once we know, okay, cool, this is where we're at, we say, okay, you know what else can we bring to the table?
Got it.
Awesome. And let's do it. Let's bring it to the table, and let's make sure they're just over the moon happy.
Got
it. So that's probably the first thing, right? Follow-up is so important. in this day, and I'm sure it's been. But you know what? Though you can't say it because it sounds so simple.
Sure.
And it's so elementary, and it's not done.
I know.
It's not done,
crazy, right?
And it is the biggest game changer. The biggest game changer. Even like, yes, over delivering, but you know what though? You're not going to over deliver unless you follow up.
That's right.
Follow up. Follow up to the point where it's surprising them that you so well at your follow up.
Sure. And you may turn people. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, "Well, then you're going to turn them off." But the amount of business you're going to get,
absolutely. Oh my gosh, man! Do not ever worry about that. When it comes to anyone that's serious about their business, that's working with you, they would rather have more communication and know exactly what's going on and know your eye to eye than anything less.
Awesome. I agree 100%. Give me one more.
That follow-up is really important. Another one I would say is take risks. Take risks.
Sure.
With me, I can say my whole career has been risks, right? Look at the Miami Heat opportunity.
Sure.
Right? That's way out of my comfort zone. People might look at that now and be like, "Oh man, it's just commonplace." That DJ Irie's at the Heat games and those. But at that time, the year was 1999. I was proficient in 2 things, and that was radio and nightclubs.
Got it.
That was my comfort zone. And in radio, it's like this.
Yeah, it's this setup, which we'll show you.
It's this setup. And I have my turntables, and I'm not seeing anybody that I'm performing for. And here's and in a nightclub, right? In a nightclub, the difference is, you have this whole audience, but guess what? Your name's on the flyer. Your name's on that marquee. They're coming to see you.
Correct.
They know what to expect. I know what to expect. They know what to expect. We're gonna do what we do. This is why you're here. It's why I'm here. Let's go. Right? Going into the arena in the Miami Heat situation was way out of my comfort zone, because here it wasn't my name on the marquee, right? It was the players.
Sure.
People came in to see a basketball game, right? And then, there's this other entertainment,
which probably wasn't really customary at that time. Listen,
there was no archetype at all. There was.
So you were a pioneer of DJs going into the
absolutely, which was another reason why I was like, oh my gosh, But it was a risk, and that risk has paid off exponentially. I mean, not only a now 20-year career with them, but 3 championships, 3 rings, and just memories and experiences to last a lifetime.
Which is way more important than anything else.
Which yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't that dude that's like, oh yeah, man, I'm Mr. Guy. I was like, no, I turned it down.
Really?
There's a thing that you guys have heard this before. I think Chris Rock really nailed it when keeping it real goes wrong.
Okay.
And it's a real thing because I almost kept it too real. When I was when they reached out to me to talk to me about the position, the organization. So we spoke about it. I got to understand, who their season ticket holders were and all. And I was like, wait, these aren't the people that are in my clubs. These aren't the people that listen to my radio show. I'm gonna have to do other stuff, that I'm used to. And I got to keep it real, right? I got to do what I do.
Sure.
And thank God they were very persistent, and they were able to kind of lean on my inquisitive side. Because one thing about me is I really, do like going into uncharted waters, and trailblazing, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? This is something where, win or lose, we were here first, And that's really what really tipped the scale. But you got to take chances.
Did you think, out of curiosity, looking at your mindset back then, did you think the opportunity was too big for you? Like almost like, am I good enough to do this?
I thought, no, I didn't question whether I was good enough to do it because I know I had the vocabulary.
Got it.
I thought that I was building something at the time because, I was doing like the big hip hop night, and I was on the hip hop station, and I'm breaking like all the new, DMX and Wu-Tang and all that stuff, you know what I mean? And I was building something for myself, it's still very early in my career, right? And I felt like, okay, well, now if I'm over here doing KC and the Sunshine Band,
totally
and all other stuff, am I going to lose all this?
Interesting. Okay.
You know what I mean? Sure. And that was my thought process, And then I was like, wait, what? You know what? You're a DJ. You're an entertainer. I'm not here to entertain just this particular crowd over here or this particular crowd over here. You know what? I'm blessed to have accumulated the vocabulary that I can take care of everybody.
Got it.
You know what I mean? So now instead of just this being my scope of business, now all of this is my scope of business. And when I'm not here, I can be here, and I can be here, and I can be here.
You scaled yourself to a whole new audience.
That's the thing about it, right?
So over deliver, follow up, take risks.
Take risks.
Got it. Now let's talk about networking and getting a crowd engaged. Because everything, what I love about this, and we talked about this off camera.
Yeah.
As a DJ, as an entrepreneur, as an entertainer, everything you've said thus far relates to everybody in any type of sales business, whether it's real estate or not.
Absolutely.
Same thing here with networking and getting a crowd engaged.
Yeah.
So what advice can you give the viewers on becoming a great networker? And what are some key benchmarks you look to accomplish every time you hit the stage to make sure that
I can tell you that.
Engaged?
I'll tell you right now. So I would not have built the business that I built if it wasn't for networking. Networking is probably the cornerstone of my business.
Got it.
And the reason why I say
by
that,
the way, networking and getting the crowd engaged are cornerstones to your success.
Oh, I see it. And I didn't see that. By the way,
questions.
I haven't seen that. But you're absolutely right. And here's why. And it's an analytical.
Must be Frank Rodriguez.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it, man. I'd say that's it. It is an analytical and strategic approach, right? And here's what I mean. I'll break it down.
Sure.
So, some people may look at some DJs may look at, and God bless everyone, doing how they want to do, and everybody takes their own approach. But some people take the approach of, they're fortunate enough to get booked for a gig, right? And they go and they'll show up, and they'll get on the set and put on a great show, right? And do an awesome job, and they'll get their stuff, and they'll pack up and leave and go home.
Got it.
Right? And for some people, that they're content, right? That's not my approach. My approach is every single opportunity that I have to perform is an opportunity to connect with people.
Got it.
Right? To shake hands and to meet new people that can be not only influential in my career, but we can explore and share synergies, right? So it's not only about what someone can do for me; it's what I can do for them as well.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think symbiotic relationships are the best relationships. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's how I approach it. So and that just sounds all good and dandy, but it's more than that. So if I know, okay, cool, I'm going to play. Let's say I get put to play the Related's holiday party.
Sure. Right?
Well, you know what? Who's going to be in that room? Right? What are some of their partners? Right? Is Sam Nazarian from SBE going to be there? Right? Is George Perez going to be there?
Yeah.
Right? Other major players, right? And if these people are going to be there, I'm going to make it a point to shake their hand. I'm going to make it a point that they know not a DJ's playing, but DJ Irie is performing, right?
And that you're a great guy off the stage.
Well, I mean, you know what? The thing about it is this: when you can put a face with the name and you can share the warmth of a handshake, right? Now it's personal.
Got it.
There's a connection.
Oh, you are
right?
Preaching to the choir. Face to, my saying, face to face, belly to belly, palm to palm.
There you go. That is a tangible connection.
Got it.
Okay? And that is something that is way more powerful than just hearing a name in passing, right? Or just being in the presence of something,
Sure.
And it's important to make that connection, right? And that's what I do.
Got it.
And more times than not, when you make those connections, a month and a half ago, right? There's one of my favorite actors of all time.
Okay.
Of all time, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Right? And I've done a lot of Hollywood parties. I mean, I've mixed and mingled and performed for the best of the best. I've never met or done anything with Samuel Jackson.
Okay.
Right? It so happens that the Jackson family reaches out to me to perform an event. It was Samuel's wife's birthday.
Okay.
Right? And it was in New York. This is only like a month and a half ago, right? And I'm like, what? I'm freaking out, right?
Yeah.
I love Samuel Jackson, right? And and this is like just the cream of the crop of Hollywood. It's super locked down, like it's crazy. So I'm there, I'm excited to perform it. And you know what? Before I'm getting ready to go on, I'm hanging out by the bar, and I look over, and I already knew that I was definitely going to meet Mrs. Jackson, right? But I look over, and Sam's right next to me, right, ordering a drink. And I said, look, I go, Mr. Jackson, how are you, sir? He goes, hey, man. I said, listen, my name is DJ Irie. I'm going to be performing tonight, He's like, you're the DJ tonight? He goes, man, I heard all about you.
He was just as excited to meet you.
Well, I won't say exactly what he says. Man, you a bad mother. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
you can say it. I don't care.
It's Sam Jackson, man. So you know what he said.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I heard you a bad mother.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just that connection right there. I went on and did the party. The party was amazing. And I wanted a picture so bad, but I wasn't going to ask him for a picture, Sam and his wife come over to me, right? They come over to me and they said, hey, man, we had a great time. He's like, it was really nice meeting you earlier, Why don't we come take a picture together, And not even take a picture, but we just had a great conversation,
Sure.
But here's the thing, though. If I didn't make the effort to make that connection beforehand, 50-50 chance that I would have just been the DJ.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And like, oh yeah, the DJ was great. The DJ,
Yeah.
But now, going into that party, I met him early, DJ Irie, cool guy, Oh, and he did a great job. Oh, hey, man,
Just reinforced everything.
Exactly.
Got it.
So.
And talk to me, and I love that story about networking. I think so many people are afraid to go up and shake people's hands. It's so important.
Then get a 9 to 5.
Yeah, don't be in sales. It's a great way.
Don't be in sales, and don't be in anything where you're going to deal with people. And again, it's not cut out for everybody, But if you have any hesitation whatsoever in networking and going up to someone who could possibly be of some symbiotic, benefit to you, and you have any kind of hesitation going there and introducing yourself and shaking that hand, you should not be in this business.
Oh, and I'll tell you, even by virtue of this show, make sure you don't touch it. This made.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Oh yeah, we're good. So what? the show has actually led that, where I've connected prior guests with other guests that I've had on the show, and then all of a sudden you have like the circle of everybody helping each other out, and now I got a question on something, I call them up, hey, I need your advice on how to write a book, or how to do this, or how to do that. It's amazing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's really cool.
It's a beautiful thing.
Talk to me about the benchmarks you look to engage a crowd. What are like, if you had a checklist of things you look for, what do you look for?
Well, you know what? Well, first thing I do in going into any event, right? And this is, I'm going to get real DJ-ish now, right? But some of this can
go to open house. So many people just all you do is turn on the lights and put a sign outside.
Well, so what I do is, well, first of all, if it's a brand new venue, something that or a brand new market I've never been to, I'll even try to get to that market early, right? So if I'm playing, Friday night, I'll try to come Thursday.
Got it.
And you know what I'll do? And I don't always do this because of the schedule, but if I have the opportunity to, I'll come a day early just to get the vibe of what's going on in the city. You know what I mean? What people are into, And if I don't have that opportunity, I always show up at least an hour early, right? And you know what I do? I'll watch the opener, right? And I watch the people responding to the music that the opener is playing, right? And I can, just from that, I can get a vibe and start building out, what I call my, music network, family tree, because if you go from here to here to here to here to here, and you start kind of putting together, what a show that will really translate to this audience would look like, right?
God, I wish I had a pen. I got an idea. I don't want to go. Keep going.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And that's one of the first things I do, right? And then really, the difference between a really good DJ and a DJ just going through the motions is being dialed in and reading your crowd, right? And by reading your crowd, that means you are looking at the reaction to every single song you're playing, right? Everything you're saying, right? Are you getting that reaction, right? If you're not getting the reaction, then guess what you gotta do? You gotta switch course, right? As a matter of fact, you might have to switch courses a couple times till you get it, right? And then when you get it, boom, reading your crowd, meaning that, okay, you know what, if you're into this Earth, Wind, and Fire, then you're probably going to like some Stevie Wonder too, right? And et cetera, et cetera. And you start building it out.
And that probably changes over the course of the night too, right? Because people
leave,
new people come in.
Exactly. And that's the thing about it. You have two types of parties. You have a party, like a nightclub, right, where they say, okay, cool, DJ Irie, and so people are coming to hear my music, right? Another time, it could be a corporate event, right, where it's T-Mobile employees, and if you think about it, almost any large-scale company is going to have people from all walks of life, all different tastes, right? But guess what? Now, my job as a DJ is to try to cater to as much of those tastes as possible.
Got it.
Right? So I'm not going to just be able to just do hip-hop all night, or just do EDM all night, or do rock all night, You're going to have to create this musical kaleidoscope, this musical journey that is a seamless journey through all these different genres, right? But still cohesive.
Sure.
Right? Still cohesive, that, you know what? The person that loves hip-hop, they don't even notice you're playing country now, because they're still jamming. You know what I'm saying? And that's really, that's the secret sauce.
And I'll tell you, you said something that was so important, that you try to scope out the place either an hour before or the day before.
Yeah.
And the idea, the light bulb that went off in my head is for realtors that do open houses.
Right.
What you should do is either go to the open houses that are going on at other open houses before you set up.
Absolutely.
See the people that are who's going. Are they in shorts? Are they dressed up? Is it a Sunday crowd? Is it a Saturday?
And you might need to make some tweaks. You know what I mean? To make it more appealing.
Is everybody eating the cookies when they walk in? All right. Or do they want water when they walk? Oh,
absolutely.
Scope out other open houses before you start yours.
And just because something worked like a charm for this one does not mean it's going to work over here.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, and that's what I do with DJing, is that I treat every single event, even though, okay, you know what, there's, top 20 hit songs, right? Maybe those top 20 will work great here. Doesn't mean, even though they're hit songs, does not mean they're going to translate over here. This crowd, they might be a little bit more old school. You know what I mean? Or it might be to other things. So you have to treat every single opportunity as an individual. You know what I mean? And with a fresh approach. And kind of build that approach. As you go, so they get a custom experience.
Yeah, I love that. And I know for a fact realtors don't look at open houses as custom experiences.
Right.
If they took that approach, I mean, just taking something that you do on stage and do that is huge.
You might have much better conversion.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk Miami. You play some of the hottest nightclubs. You entertain some of the world's biggest celebrities, like, as we've talked about, athletes, entrepreneurs that are down here.
Sure.
What do you think makes Miami so special? And what are these celebrities and famous people and entrepreneurs and all that saying about Miami?
Miami. I can't say enough about Miami. One thing about Miami is, you know what? I'm extremely blessed to travel the world.
Yeah.
You know, there's very few places I haven't been. And the biggest joy about traveling, as much as there are some incredible places around the world, but the biggest joy about traveling is that my appreciation for Miami gains more and more every single time. Okay. We live in a very, very, very special city, right? When it comes to my profession in music, the most incredible thing about living in Miami is the diversity.
Got it.
You know, and it translates to the music. It translates to food, translates to a lot of different things, right? But take my situation. Now, I play in Mexico, I play in Europe, I play in the Caribbean, right? I play in all these places, and I'm so well versed with the sound, the native sound, and the native tongue, because I have it all right here in Miami.
How cool is that?
It's incredible. It's amazing, right? It's absolutely amazing.
And you don't experience that in the other cities that you're going.
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, I have a really good friend that's from Ohio, you know, and you know, he was going somewhere where he knew it was going to, you know, have that Latin flavor to it. And he called me up and said, "Man, I know you got this in Miami, man. You know what? I heard about like a really bad bunny or something like that. You know." So, you know, and I was able to, you know, hook him up. But I can't tell you how many times people call me, you know, about giving them some insight into certain areas, you know, and the musical taste. But for me, it's commonplace. It's second nature.
Got it.
Because that's what I grew up with. You know what I mean? That's what I grew up with, you know? So, and it's a huge advantage, right? And the thing about Miami, because, you know, nightlife is such a big part, you know, of the culture, is that Miami has been innovators. You know, we've been innovators in terms of nightlife, right? So, you know, a lot of the things that have come to be, you know, really just entrenched in the nightlife experience, you know, have come out of Miami and exported, you know, to New York and Vegas and a lot of the places, you know. And also you just learn stamina because we're not shut down at 2 o'clock. You know what I mean?
They say New York is a city that never sleeps.
I think Miami's up there, dude. Miami's up there. You know, you get to be well versed in playing, you know, 4 or 5 hour set, you know what I mean, and covering the gamut, you know. So there's so many different things that really help give you an edge, you know. But I mean, just if I could have done this anywhere else, you know, started and done it anywhere else, I would. It wouldn't even be a thought, an afterthought. It would be Miami.
I mean, that's a great way to look at it, right? It's a party. It's a city that likes to have fun.
Yeah.
That's full of energy, full of life.
Absolutely.
And has been that central point of being able to bring everybody together in one location.
And that's what's amazing. And that's what's so amazing about it, man. It really is. There's nothing else like it.
All right, here we go. Lightning round.
Okay.
1 word.
Uh-oh.
Very short answers.
Okay.
What's your favorite social media platform?
Twitter.
All right, cool. I got to get on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter yet.
Twitter. I mean, everyone loves, you know, Facebook, and but you know what I like about Twitter? I like about Twitter is that when something is happening, like really, no matter how small or how, you usually learn about it first at Twitter because somebody is sending a quick tweet about it.
So I need to get on Twitter.
What's going on? You need to get on Twitter, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Where can they find you? What are your handles on?
You know what? I'm so easy. At Irie. At IRIE on everything.
Irie.
It wasn't easy making that happen too. That's a very.
You probably had to. God knows what
I had to make some deals.
What's your favorite Miami venue to play?
The American Airlines Arena.
Wow, as a DJ.
As a DJ.
Not you mean as a Heat game or outside of a Heat game?
Well, Heat games. Okay. Heat games. Because you know what? And don't get me wrong. Every single club in Miami is incredible, but there's nothing like being able to play the American Airlines Arena night in and night out.
Sure.
You know, and to be able to, especially in a heat game setting where they're there to watch the game, but then you can go in and take their mind off of that for a minute, and you know what, create that nightclub setting in the arena. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
During a playoff game or a
finals
game?
There's nothing like it.
Nothing like it. Got it. What's your biggest fear? What keeps you up at night?
Honestly, I would say heights, but no.
That's cool.
No. It's failure.
Okay.
And you know what? Some people say you can't be afraid to fail, and some people will tell you, you know, that they're scared to death of failing. I can tell you right now, I am scared of failing.
Everybody is. They all are.
I am, but here's the thing about it. I like that I'm scared of failing, because I can't tell you how many times or how many examples where I have succeeded at something purely because I was scared to death of failing.
Got it.
Even for that one reason, that got me over the finish line.
Got it. I love it. And again, there's a lot of gratitude in a lot of your way of thinking. There's a lot of gratitude, because you probably also look at it and say, I thought I was going to fail, or I didn't fail. I had a great set. Man, I'm happy. I'm stoked.
Absolutely. Or you take on a project where, you know what, you probably shouldn't have taken it on, but it's out there, it's out the gate. You know what I mean?
You took that risk.
And you know what? I'm not a quitter, right? So even though I'm not enjoying this, it's not really, but you know what though? I'm not going to fail at it.
Got it.
Because I'm not a quitter, and I don't fail.
There you go. All right, breakthrough moment when you hit it big.
Ooh. There's so many different things that, like, different milestones.
The one gig you
I would
did,
say,
you said, oh shit.
I wouldn't say the one gig. I would say my very first Vegas residency. And the reason why I say that,
you did a Vegas residency.
I've had, I'm going on my 6th or 7th year.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I've done residencies everything from Dre's to Omnia to Hakkasan. I mean, you name it, to now Jewel.
Yeah.
But the reason why I would say my Vegas contract is that, you know, really in my world, you kind of made it when you get that Vegas residency, because they can get anything. Right? If you think about it, look at the biggest stars on the planet. You know, Celine Dion, Lady Gaga, right?
Anybody they want.
They get anybody they want. Right? They get anybody they want. So when they say, hey, you know what? We're all the way over here in Las Vegas. We want you, this guy here in Miami, right? And we want to put you on one of the biggest platforms, you know, out here, and we're going to put up billboards and marketing campaigns and all that kind of stuff, because we believe in your talent. That's probably one of the biggest nods you can get,
That's
you know,
awesome,
in this business.
Congratulations. I love that.
Thanks, man.
Something we'd be surprised to know about you.
This is a combination, a little doozy.
Okay.
I can't swim. Big surprise there. But
why? You're Miami, dude. It don't matter.
Wait, I can't swim, but I am an avid and really badass wakeboarder.
Okay. So you're a badass wakeboarder.
Can't swim.
So what happens when you're wearing the life preserver?
So here's the cool thing about wakeboarding, right? Is that you're wearing a life preserver, and you ain't got to go to the boat, because the boat can come to you.
Got it. So when you go learn to swim, man.
I think that boat has sailed.
No.
Dude, I'm 43.
You're 2 years older than me. Come on, man.
I'm old, man.
You're not bullshit. You're not. If you're old, then I'm old, because I'm 41.
Dude, well, I mean, I don't know.
You're old, man. We're just getting started. I'm 22 years of real estate. I'm just getting started.
You just get started. I mean,
just getting started.
Maybe I'll get around to it, man. I'll get around to it.
All right, last question, and we'll wrap it up. Thank you man. You've been awesome. This has been a lot of fun for me. And you know, it's interesting because we have Lodgy in the back, and I know that if something would be wrong, he'd be coming in here saying, "Hey, something's going on."
Yeah, no,
I've been really relaxed.
Oh, I actually think he's sleeping.
Is he sleeping?
No, but
Is that even watchable?
No,
I'll show you.
He's over there.
All right, last question: book, podcast, or TED Talk recommendation?
Podcast, technology.
Is he there?
I mean, wow, there's so many great ones of these, but I would definitely suggest a podcast called School of Greatness. My man Lewis Howes. Yeah, he's not only a really great friend of mine, but cool thing about it is this, you know, when you hear of someone or get to like learn about them, you know, whatever, you start forming a certain opinion about them, and then you connect with the person, you find out, wow, they're even a better person than what you think.
Absolutely.
And that's Lewis. Actually, was fortunate enough to meet him very, very early on in his career. Matter of fact, he was doing his podcast still out of his kitchen, right? Wow. And I mean, this is 6 years ago. Yeah. Way back. We were introduced by a mutual friend. He was just getting started, and I did a episode of his show, and we remained really good friends. And I remained a subscriber, and just to hear that progression that he has gone through, and the subject matter, the broad subject matter he's been able to cover, I think it's something for everybody there.
That's awesome.
And on top of that, he's just a really, really great guy.
He lives in the same building. He lives in a building in LA where I've had another guy on. His name's Albert Preciado, great guy.
Okay.
Who's huge in the mortgage business. And then Albert was the one who introduced me to the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort.
Oh, wow.
They met because they all live in the same building.
Isn't that something else?
It's a building in LA that you go into the parking lot, and it's like all Ferraris, all Rolls Royce.
Sounds about right.
I mean, like the cheapest car in there is like $300,000. You're like, oh my God.
Sounds about right.
Now I know why they live there.
Yeah, man. So, yeah. Making it happen, man.
Yeah,
man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna take my mic off. I'm gonna go around. Any parting words for the audience before I turn the camera off?
Oh, listen. You know what? Wake up every morning with one goal of being the best you can be. Be the best version of you. Don't settle for anything less. And if you do that, you'll go to bed with a smile every single day.
There you go. Wind it there.